Okay, thank you everyone for coming. It's a beautiful blessing. This is a sacred time for us all and for Spirit. Know that everyone here is just as important and necessary to be here. So, thank you for coming. It's such a blessing. How I work when I do the trance mediumship and the trance channeling, I don't remember anything tonight, so I will see you now, and later on I won't know what's happened. It's just like I'm away for an hour or so. It's very beautiful. Spirit will go into trance, and then we'll give a little bit of philosophy, and then you're welcome to ask questions. We were going to you said clockwise?
Clockwise, yeah, she starts.
Clockwise, so if you don't have a question,
you just do like
just pass
this
on.
without it.
I have my eyes closed and I'm completely away, so I have no knowledge, so that has to kind of be organized somehow, but Spirit knows what's going on. We will have translations that's needed. And it's going to be a beautiful evening, and we're going to try and keep it to about an hour, but we're going to see how it flows. It's beautiful. You're welcome to ask questions about big subjects, about personal things, whatever. Just let the energy go. So it's beautiful. Thank you for coming, and it's a beautiful evening. Do I need to explain anything else? No, that's it really.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was just a mantra or a prayer or an invocation that came yesterday when in a private session. So I just want to start with this. So it's eternal life, eternal light, eternal love. And so if you can just visualize the energy of that and just be receptive to the highest and the best, and enjoy the evening. So, yay. Okay. So it takes me a few minutes to go into trance, and then when Spirit comes into my body, they will usually tell you who they are. If you see any transfiguration or you feel the energy has changed, who's communicating to me, you're always welcome to ask who you're talking to, who you're communicating to, because it often does change to every question. So, welcome. Any other questions?
No questions. What can we change the şunu kapatıp bu tarafa açabilir miyiz?
Yerini
Yüksekliği için ona göre ayarladı. Yerini değiştir bir tane.
Yok hayır, burada çok fazla ışık böyle.
Bir tane o şu köşeye kayar. Bunu ya da buraya gel. Oraya gidelim. Bunu oraya verelim mi?
Oraya gel. Ortadaki ışığı açık
Olabilir mi?
tamamen.
Olmuyor.
onları
Denedik
kapatıp.
biz hepsini.
Yok.
Sen iyi misin? İşte hayat işte aynı böyle bir şey.
5 dakikaya bir şey değil.
Blessings, we are here. We come to you from the collective consciousness of eternity and purest light. How may we serve you today? We come to you with the messages of reclaiming what is your higher self, and where it always resides in the part of you which is always eternal. We bring forward to you the blessings which are always present within the eternal aspect of your heart and your spirit. All that we are doing is reflecting and expanding upon the consciousness which is coexisting and co-expanding within each precious gem that you are. we would like to invite you to ask your first question, please.
Okay, it's going to be a personal question. How what is the best and easiest way to open myself and to receive the abundance of money also into my life in order to serve for the highest good for all?
As we draw near to your energy, we are shown that there is the need to diffuse some of the energies which you pick up, some of the fears of others which you pick up, which are not yours, and to distill, just like you would distill alcohol or you would distill gold, to remember the pure abundance and the pure highest good of all that you are, and to distill it, to find the sacred nature of it. That is alchemy, how to turn your life into precious gold. It is not that you do not have, it is that what you are being given, some of that falls through your fingers, through your hands, due to the fear. Some of that is also due to the habits and the emotions that you have picked up from others that no longer serve you. There is the need for karmic ancestral healing, and there is the need for you to really tune in and to value your self-worth, for often you perceive that others do not understand your power and your greatness, and yet this is not correct. The only way you may benefit another is to truly be living your purpose and shining your light, so you become just like the illuminating sun in the darkness. You become the candle and you light up the darkness in the world, in the fear and in the security. People that are not aware will never know, and yet people who are willing to know will receive the abundance and the glory of all that is perfect and true. There is gold in every situation, and yet it is about, just like you distill the alcohol, becoming the purer, more concentrated form of light and abundance. There is no need to fear abundance, for abundance is a gift which is just like light. There is plenty to share and it is eternal. We wish for you to connect with the eternal aspects of not only yourself but others. This will remove much pain and much fear in your life and your consciousness. Is this sufficient to answer your question for now?
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome. Next question, please.
Thank you for being and guiding here. I would love to receive some guidance towards what way should I take my professional life as in work. Is there any kind of messages that I should hear now? And is there any kind of anything that should be transmitted in this now?
Blessings. We are shown that you have been at a crossroads and you have come to a place of enhanced spiritual awakening, should we say. The last few months have brought much spiritual acceptance and maturity into your spiritual growth and awakening. You have recently enhanced your spiritual life, and although this was not originally planned to affect your professional life, it is having an effect on it also. we are shown that there is immense architectural design and beauty that you can create and shine light to. And yet we are being shown that your spiritual growth and your spiritual evolution is being taken to a higher level of ecstasy and bliss, but one that will also hold space for others and bring light into the realms that need light to be brought into. This you have seen visions, you have felt things that you cannot explain, and yet there is a divine timing for this, and we have chosen you to be able to be the matrix, the womb of the spiritual evolution for what is being transcribed and brought forward. This was never something that you had planned, and yet you felt it from your birth, from your childhood. You always knew there would be something more for you to give, for you to bring to the world of many realms of consciousness. This is not only your awakening, it is the awakening that you will be bringing to others also. We see your kundalini rising, we see all your chakras coming into ecstasy. This is come on a relationship format, of course, and yet there is also a collective consciousness also. That is why tonight we are communicating on a collective consciousness, as there is much personal, physical, spiritual, ecstatic unification experiences you have been encountering, some of which are too personal to describe here. And yet we can touch upon that, and we can express the collective consciousness which you know is your time to bring this to the world and other worlds of being. There is a mother or a grandmother figure in spirit who draws near, who comes through and says that they had similar gifts, yet they never came to fruition. You are the legacy of the spiritual truths and the spiritual gold that needs to be shared and expanded upon. You have been given gifts and abilities. You have been brought to this energy, to this space, to expand upon it. It is like the sacred energy, the sacred land now is fertile and is being prepared for the castles in the sky. For there is a lot about spiritual wellness, emotional wellness, and physical wellness, which you had never planned before, which are being gifted to you for you to teach and expand upon. It is not something you need a certificate to do. It is something that will be upgraded to you and to many others around you. We are grateful for you because you heard the clarion call. You heard the calling and yet you didn't understand it. Yet you are being rewarded beyond your wildest imagination. And we wish to remind you that now is just the beginning. It is just the beginning. You have just had a glance of what is being prepared for you and for the sacredness of all that is true. The matrix of consciousness, the womb of source. There is much birth, much creation. There is more we will share with this at a later stage. And yet the invitation was accepted. The call was heard. And the treasure is to be shared and expanded upon. Divine timing in its highest essence is being not only given but awakened in beautiful unity and sacredness. We are grateful for you, indeed, for much of the light that is being channeled is also because the matrix is there, the womb of source, the catalyst, the creation. There is no coincidence. There are many gatherings and many meetings that will happen, and many workshops, many demonstrations of coming into the harmony and wellness of spirit, mind, and body. Before, there used to be more of the analytical, of the academic mind, and yet those walls are being broken, and it is time to come into the heart and the ecstasy of spirit, of all that is eternal. We know you understand this, and yet your mind will never fully understand it, for you are perfectionist, you are academic in your nature, and yet the feelings and the sensations are those that nothing could replace, for they are so profound and so omnipotently beautiful. We congratulate you, and we celebrate in the success of all that is unfolding, just as the lotus is unfolding. The lotus, the flower with no thorns. For sometimes you think, is it too good to be true? No, it is just divine timing. You are stepping into all that you should be and accepting that light. Is that sufficient for now?
Thank you.
Next question, please.
Thank you for being here. How can I reach to the highest or deepest level of forgiveness?
The biggest thing is not to seek. The most important thing is to accept the present. For the eternal present, there is no past, there is no future. All is this eternal present moment. The quintessence, the purity of the presence is through unconditional love. Forgiveness to yourself. Forgiveness to the situation, forgiveness to another. For there is never really a mistake. For everything is happening in simultaneous vibrations of consciousness. It is about your perspective. It is about your focus. There is much darkness, and yet there is always light. Just like the earthly realm, somewhere it is always midday. Midday, the highest point of where the sun is in the sky. There is always the sunshine. So if there is always the sunshine, there is no need to forgive. It is just about shifting your perspective. We appreciate your efforts about you seeking forgiveness, seeking to be forgiven, and yet we wish to remind you that it is also not necessary. For when one fears, they are in scarcity, they are lack of abundance. When one fears, they are in need for forgiveness or in need to forgive another, they have forgotten the eternal essence of unconditional love. They have to come back into the heart of eternity, the heart of the source, the heart of what is always pure. How to come back into the center of not only the universe, but the center of every single cell of atom of being. There is a divine order that needs no explanation. It just needs to be acknowledged, to be accepted, and to be expanded upon. Does this make sense to you? Or would you like more clarification?
Thank you.
I need a translate.
Okay.
Şöyle yani
Okay.
boşanma davasının içindeyim ve hayatımda yeni bir insan var. çok fazla duyguya kapılıyorum ve spiritüel halden uzaklaşıyormuş gibi hissediyorum bazen çok duyguya kapılıp.
I am now translating her question to you, but this is only a part of it. I will continue translating. Jaylin is going through a divorce. It's been lasting for a long time, and they are separated, but they're in the middle of the case still, and there is a new person in his life, in her life romantically, and she's feeling that she's getting away from the spiritual realm a little. Continuing to listening her right now.
Doğru yolda mıyım bu kadar?
Am I on the right path? She's asking.
As we tune into your energy, we are made aware of the hypersensitivity of your character, of your essence and your situation.
Olduğunu görüyoruz şu anda senin enerjini kanal olduğumuzda.
Stop trying.
Denemeyi bırak.
Uğraşmayı bırak.
Uğraşmayı bırak.
When one tries too hard,
Biri fazla uğraştığı zaman
they get distorted off the path.
yolundan hafif distortion,
Şaşırdım.
şaşır.
A child does not try to be perfect,
Bir çocuk mükemmel olmaya uğraşmaz.
and yet we all acknowledge the purity of a child, the perfectionist nature of a child.
Ama yine de hepimiz o çocuğun mükemmelliğini ve saflığını görebiliriz.
Children are perfect.
Çocuklar mükemmeldir.
They are the teachers.
Öğretmenlerimizdir.
To feel is to live again.
Hissetmek tekrar yaşamak demektir.
You are numb and you are in shock and pain for far too long.
Çok uzun zamandır uyuşuk ve hissiz ve acı içerisindeydin.
The relationship that has appeared in your life
Hayatına gelen ilişki
has actually come to help you feel again.
seni tekrar hissetmeye çekmek için geldi.
There is no judgment in spirit.
Ruhta asla yargılama yoktur.
Whether it lasts or doesn't last,
Sürse veya sürmese
the main message you must know
fark etmez ama senin bilmen gereken ana mesaj şu ki
is when you feel in true harmony and authenticity,
kendini en uyumlu ve öz halinde hissettiğin zaman
your power will nourish and help all those around you.
gücün bundan çok beslenecektir ve hem sana hem etrafındakilere yardımcı olacaktır.
Sometimes you feel, should I talk to my friends or should I keep it inside?
Bazen arkadaşlarımla bir şey konuşsam ya da kendimi mi tutsam diye düşündüğüm oluyor.
We advise you to feel.
İçinde tutup hissetmeni öneriyoruz sana.
To feel from the heart and the spirit where you are loved and you are whole.
Kalbinden ve ruhundan hissederek tam olduğunu ve sevildiğini bilmeni istiyoruz.
Remember that you are safe now.
Güvende olduğunu hatırlamanı istiyoruz artık.
The trauma has gone.
Travma bitti.
When the trauma has gone,
Travma gittiği zaman
it is good to stop trying too hard.
çok uğraşmayı bırakmak iyidir.
For you are safe.
Artık güvendesin.
You are loved.
Seviliyorsun.
And the path is not about right or wrong.
Zaten yol yanlış veya doğru ile alakalı değil.
The path is about freedom.
Yol özgürlükle alakalı.
By being free,
Özgür olarak
you will liberate others.
başkalarını da özgürleştireceksin.
By being in love
Aşık olarak
with each moment,
her anla
you will have tolerance,
toleransın olacak.
acceptance,
Kabullenişin olacak.
and higher understanding.
Daha yüksek bir anlayış içerisinde olacaksın.
Even when children are involved,
Çocuklar da işin içine girdiğinde
there is no sacrifice.
ödün verme gereği yoktur aslında.
there is nourishment, which is love and freedom.
Çünkü beslenilen yer zaten özgürlük ve sevgi.
That is a teacher in itself.
Bu kendi kendine zaten bir öğreti ve öğretmen.
The situation and the chaos
Bazen durumlar ve kaotik haller
is actually a catalyst
hızlandırıcı olabilir hayatımızda.
to stem your spiritual growth further.
Spiritüel gelişmeni ilerleten bir hızlandırıcı rolünde olabilir.
There is much you have to learn.
Öğrenmen gereken çok şey var.
There is much you have to remember.
Hatırlaman gereken çok şey var.
There is much you have to feel.
Hissetmen gereken çok şey var.
And we remind you that you are loved.
Ve biz sana sevildiğini hatırlatıyoruz.
You are loved for all of eternity.
Sonsuzluğa kadar seviliyorsun.
You felt you have lost part of yourself.
Kendinden bir parça kaybettiğini hissettin.
This is true and yet not true.
Bu hem doğru hem de doğru değil.
For just as a snake sheds its skin,
Bir yılanın derisini değiştirmesi gibi
the silk and the gold is found by overcoming the hurdles.
İpek ve altın zorlukları atlatıldıktan sonra bulunur.
Your heart is changing from light pink to red to gold.
Kalbin açık pembeden kırmızıya ve oradan altına doğru değişiyor.
A pink heart is weak.
Pembe bir kalp zayıftır.
A red heart is passion.
Kırmızı kalp tutkuludur.
It is seeking acceptance from others.
Başkalarından kabul ve onay arar.
A gold heart is a heart of spirit.
Altın kalp ruhun kalbidir.
A golden heart is a heart that shines brightly light to all,
Altın kalp başkalarına da ışığı saçan kalptir.
and yet cannot be punctured or harmed.
Ama ne delik alabilir ne de zarar görebilir.
You are gaining spiritual strength and maturity in your essence.
Özünde spiritüel olarak gelişim ve ilerleme kaybediyorsun.
You are loved.
Seviliyorsun,
You are safe.
güvenlisin,
You are protected.
korunuyorsun.
Be and try less.
Ol ve daha az uğraş.
Shine your light.
Işığın yansıt.
Then your true sight will awaken.
Ve o zaman doğru özün uyanacak. Görüşün de uyanacak hayat.
Do not have any guilt,
Suçluluk duyma.
for guilt is like the sinking sand, which will trap you.
Suçluluk duymak batak gibi olan bir kum gibidir. Seni içine hapseder.
Love and divinity will set you free.
Aşk ve sonsuzluk seni özgür bırakacak.
Pray more.
Dua et daha fazla.
Does this make sense?
Bunlar sana yeterli mi?
Yes.
Başka sormak istediğim şey.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you for being here. My question is, what do I have to let go, and how do I let go of things that keep me from being my highest potential as a person, at work, as a lover, as a friend?
You give too much.
Again.
To experience more bliss and more joy, you must also be able to receive. Giving is a beautiful gift. Do not misunderstand us. And yet, when you give and you only have 0.5% left, then you will feel the density of the world and of the pains of others more. Give 50% and remember your God essence within you that also needs nourishing. Indeed, when you are a giver, it is hard to give to yourself. And yet, when you remember your divinity, the sacredness of your essence, you know when you are strong, you can help more fully. For when you are giving, giving, giving, you forget about you. And that also needs to be given to. You give in such a beautiful way. Your garden of your spirit is full of rainbow flowers which reflect light and rainbows across the room of consciousness to all. You uplift and you bring love to so many. And yet your body is tired. Your mind is tired at times. It's always good to receive a spiritual massage or a helping hand from a friend. To be able to receive this is good. Yes, it may involve at times needing to ask, and yet also be able to receive the love and the thanks. For when people say thank you for your kindness, you say, oh, that was not me, la la la. And they want you to know that it is you. For when you transition and you go into spirit, when you die in your worldly understanding, when the physical body dies, your character continues. The giving nature of your character is eternal. It is. The body, the money is not eternal, of course, but your character is. So we wish to give to you the reminder and the fuel to bring your fire a brighter light, to nourish that character which is so beautiful, just like shining a diamond. Shine that character of your giving nature, and yet remember to take a little bit of giving for yourself. For when your light is so bright, it will shine to others so bright also, which it already does, and yet it will not compensate. At the moment you give, and it compensates your energy. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you want a break. And yet, there is no need for that. For there can be ways of how you can give and to be nourished also. We love your character and we love your energy. And we just wish to add to the fire of your heart, to keep it forever burning, so it will bring light and warmth to all those in need. This is what you must remember, precious one.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
Thank you for being here with us, with me. Do you have any message for me and my pet?
As we draw near to you on a fatherly figure vibration, we are shown that you have immense power, and yet you jump from one extreme to the other. You have immense power, immense teachings that are waiting to be revealed to many. Indeed, you are a channeler. Indeed, you have many gifts, many powers, many abilities. And yet, making time for that and truly believing it and knowing that you will be supported in following that path is hard for you to fully understand. 50-50, we see you jumping the bridge many, many times. We wish for you to remember how loved you are by many, many beings that are alive and in spirit. We wish for you to experience a greater love of unity with your twin flame, with your soul mate, for you have not found that yet. In fact, there are only 2 beings in this room who have truly connected with their twin flames. And when that beauty, that power comes, the path of infinity is awakened. You are a success in all that you do, and you always have been. Life was not hard, but it was not easy for you. It was hard on the emotional level, and yet you were always blessed, as you knew how to turn your life into gold, the alchemy process. And yet you often get distracted by the pleasures of life. That is not something to criticize, it's not something of judgment. Pleasure is something to enjoy, and yet it should not engulf or distract you from your true soul and spirit. For your power is one of the top 4 in this room. That is, we never come from a place of hierarchy. We believe every single being in this room is exactly the same. And yet there are different missions and divine timing for every being to awaken their gifts, all in the eternal present. But you must fully live your power, your omnipotence, for it to be a blessing to others. For when you divert from your path, you cause pain to your body and your mind and your spirit. So you need to engulf and absorb into pleasures which are not necessary. Pleasures are beautiful in the world. Just like food, just like consciousness, just like love and sex and material things. It is something to be experienced, to be enjoyed, and yet there is no need for it is not eternal. And yet the character in spirit can choose to eat, can choose to make love, even beyond the material when they are not in the physical body. What is the reason we are explaining this? The reason is to remember your eternal essence and to infuse that into every moment of your waking consciousness. Then everything will come into place like a divine jigsaw puzzle of ultimate loving consciousness. Your future is a blessed one. Your life is a long one. Your light is one of expansion. Do not let fear dim that light, for that is what happens sometimes. Shine your brightest light, for your power is infinite. There will be more which will be communicated on this subject for you at a later date. In love and harmony, we are watching over your expansion. Know that. You are not alone. Next question, please.
Thank you for being here. I was in a time of loving myself, learning myself, but I think I chose to be alone and I used to be more free in that period. But I think I'm now closing my energy about that. So I'm ready to open my energy. But I don't know, maybe I'm still closing it.
You are in the sinking sand of fear. For you fear you have lost the past. You fear you have lost the future. The eternal present is a a divine gift. It is about becoming the divine gift. You are not actually loving yourself, you are trying to accept yourself. There is a difference. Indeed, we accept the things that we cannot change, and we think that that is loving ourselves. No. For one of the only certainties in life is change. So how can you love yourself if you are accepting the things you cannot change? That is not correct. The only certainty things are change, ultimate love, eternity, unconditional love, and growth. To love yourself, you must love your expansion. You must love every moment of your consciousness. Just like a precious baby, a precious child. There is no wrong. There can be no wrong. We invite you to take responsibility for your health at this time. For you have neglected your health for too long. It is time for you to step into the path of equilibrium, of body, mind and spirit. There is no judgment in spirit, we wish to remind you. But there is a balance, there is a harmony which is needed for you. Coming into the essence of who you are. There is much that you need to do with sound. Coming to the sacred sound of the universe. Next question, please.
Hello. I'd like to ask if you have any messages for me on finding my purpose in life.
We wish to remind you again that there is nothing to find. The treasure is within. It is just about using the key to unlock the treasure. You will never find your purpose if you are looking for it. For you are feeling that you are seeking something that is not already within you. Your purpose, your life purpose is not an easy one. It is one of complex variety, should we say. Your life purpose is about connecting. Connecting the communication, connecting the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. This is what you have not been doing. There is a need for you to connect. Not logically, why things are not working or are working, but make the connections and accept the love that is being given to you. For you often neglect and reject the most precious love that is given to you. When you also learn to love yourself, you are able to shine love into another's heart and being. Part of your purpose is healing the family traumas in your life, for there is ancestral family healing which is required. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
And so, to bring guidance and love to the way to bring harmony is to connect Connect at a purer level to bring harmony and peace in the family, ancestors, and group consciousness. That is your main purpose. You feel, how may I help? How may I be success? How may I do this? It is about healing your family. For home is where the heart is. You have tried to be a success with academia and money and work for far too long. In your personal situation, home is where the heart is, and the family is where you must address your attention. It will take bravery. It will take self-inner reflection. And yet, it is most majestic in its unraveling. There are many letters that need to be written. There are many paths that need to be crossed and viewed in non-judgment. And the beauty will unfold in the most rewarding, beautiful way. Stop sinking into the sand. Stop seeking. For love is all that you should demand. Next question, please.
Thank you, Spirit, for being here. Can you tell me what I need to know at this point? Just what I need to know to become my best self.
You need to know and you need to study the paths of healing. Your path right now involves healing, involves getting above the depressed state and nature which you do not always communicate. For there are times when you are deeply saddened by the world, deeply saddened by the situations that go on around you. By letting go of all that no longer serves you, you will be able to claim your birthright of infinite bliss. There are many methods and forms of healing. Nutrition is not something you need to look at. Stop with that. There is no food, there is no outside thing that can cure you, that can bring you healing or another healing. It is about tuning into the sacred sounds, into the vibrations, and into the higher energies. You will feel such a greater sense of health, of happiness, by knowing that the healing is always present. There is nothing that needs to be fixed, for there was nothing that was ever broken. It was more about transformation. Even the power of death, the butterfly, the caterpillar does not call death. The caterpillar thinks it's death. Then it becomes the beautiful butterfly of transformation. This is what you are going through right now. This is what you have to remember. Letting go of the old, embracing the healing energy of all that is true and pure. The diamond is always in your hand and your heart. Remember that. We feel so much warmth around you. And as we see that warmth, that violet, green and golden light, we envision and we witness immense healing on all levels around you. be afraid, dear one. Next question, please.
Thank you for being here. I'm a comedian, and I want to do this in a bigger state. Bigger state. I want to make it. I want to make more people laugh, you know. But I'm having hard time a little bit.
When you want, you think you need. When you are being, it happens. You must all know that love happens when you stop trying to find it. This is the same thing about success, about career success. For you have a talent. Part of you being a comedian is you channeling it. It is partly your character, and it is partly channeling. So it has not got to be sought or fought for there is no battle. Stop thinking there is a battle, for it doesn't exist. When you are young, you have imagination, is that correct?
Yes.
You have inspiration, is that correct?
Yes.
What is inspiration? In, spirit, action. You break down the word inspiration in, spirit, action. When you are inspired, just like a child, everything works. You have more than enough. And yet, as you get older, you think you are in need. You think the earth or the world needs to give you something. But what has changed? You have forgotten. You have forgotten that you are the treasure. There are so many beautiful flavors of love in the world. There are so many beautiful tastes, smells, and experiences. The one piece of advice we wish to remind you in your situation is to refine your understanding. Choose what you want and claim it. We see international travel for you. We see you going far with your comedian work because your ego is not there. That is a beautiful gift. Some comedians are pure actors. Some comedians are pure channelers. And yet you are a pure channeler, a pure actor, actress. And you have a gift, a divine gift. You can tickle people without them needing to be tickled. The comedian who tickles. That is the name we shall give you. Just be careful where you tickle, please. You will be travelling, for sure, internationally. This is already in the pipeworks, as we could say. Connections on your side will be made and facilitated for you. Again, stop seeking. It's already being done. Just remember to be devoid of ego like you are now. For when you still have that lack of ego, that lack of pride, your success will be far greater and be able to tickle at a much stronger tickling effect. and you are funny. Remember that. And remember that you must shine that light to those in need. Emotion is the potion which enables movement. Emotion is the catalyst of tuning in to thought. How we are able to communicate to you here today is because spirit travels at the speed of thought, at the speed of love, and at the speed of light, through the power of eternity. That is wisdom. We will meet you again, that we are sure of. Next question, please.
Hi, thank you for being here. I would like to ask for the monks, how can a person get rid of or free of fear?
Firstly, break through the veil. What do we mean by that? Break through the illusion. Fear doesn't really exist. Fear is just an insecurity that you are worthy of ultimate love. Insecurities do not really exist. They just come from a misunderstanding. So in reality, fear is just a misunderstanding. That is new information for every being in this room tonight. Ponder on that. For through misunderstanding, greater understanding can be experienced. And yet, humility, unconditional love, and wisdom is required. How does one become wise? What is wisdom? Wisdom is knowledge and experience. Knowledge and experience combined creates wisdom. So, fear is just a passing thought that never really was. Just like a clown walking on a tightrope, an acrobat. How do they manage not to fall off? At the beginning they have fear, yet they know that was just a thought. They focus on the light. They focus on the end goal. And yet it is happening simultaneously. Fear. Fear of death, fear of pain, fear of love. Come on. It does not serve. It serves no being and no consciousness. Fear is one thing, one thought that does not exist in the spirit realms. When you transition, when you pass into spirit, there is no being who judges you. It is yourself, looking at yourself. Yourself, what do we mean by yourself? It is your essence, it is your divine essence. Whatever divine being and expression of consciousness you believe in, your divine essence, your divine self, that is in every being of consciousness. And therefore, when you experience that, when you encounter that in the spirit world, there is no fear. For fear was just an illusion all along. And yet, there is ultimate love, there is eternal love. There is eternal light, and there is eternal life. For consciousness continues beyond death, devoid of fear. For fear is really the happily ever after. It is about overcoming the illusions of falseness into authentic beauty of all that is pure and eternal. To remove the fear, remember who you are. To remove the fear, stop putting labels, judgments, expectations on anything, any being, and any awareness. Be in the light. Remember who you eternally are. Feel that love. Truly feel. Allow yourself to feel. By truly feeling that love, for many there will be tears. For many there will be ecstasy. For many there will be confusion. And yet by feeling the love, you are remembering who you eternally are. That is the sacred sound of the universe that can always be found, for there is no need to find it, for it's within. What do we mean when we say within? Within is in the divine essence that can never die. In each aspect of light. For each of you here tonight is a unique ray of light. Stop trying to be something you are not. For every ray of light is like a jigsaw puzzle in the divine plan of source. If you try to bend to fit to another's expectations or your own expectations of fear, the jigsaw puzzle will not fit. Be your light, unify where necessary, and expand upon it. Next question, please.
Thank you for being here. I'm grateful for your guidance. I'd like to know about other realms. Would you please inform us about the other realms, please?
We're going to start to call you Grandmother Spirit. For her, you have walked this life far too many times. This lifetime is a time for you to walk between the realms. That is why we call you Grandmother Spirit. The other realms of consciousness are diverse and too numerous to touch upon here tonight. And yet we will try to refine a synopsis for you. And yet you know you have been informed of your work to be revealed and that is coming for you. Indeed, you will be doing the trance channeling in the near future. And yet it will be one of just discussing the realms. It will not be of questions and answers to you. No, for that is not your path. It will be just about revealing the realms that exist within the realms. This is new information for you. And yet it's a beautiful expansion that is being immersed. There is much information that has not been revealed to any beings before. There is no need for drugs. There is no need for using substances to get to altered states of being. For you can have it just by tapping into your grandmother spirit. We have chosen you to work with us. The time is a time of coming, of being the medicine people. For you, all here tonight, have been brought together for an auspicious meeting, an auspicious gathering for a sacred purpose. There is the need for bringing healing to the world and other realms. In fact, many of the teachings and the channelings that will be given will have the power to completely remove cancer from your planet. This is indeed a profound thing which is being gifted. It is not to feed or nourish any egos, for we wish for this to be abolished, but it is to remind you that by communicating with higher frequencies of light and communication, by contacting higher realms and dimensions, ultimate healing is available to all those who are ready. There have been many masters, many gurus who have gone off track, who have caused disharmony among religions, among the world. This has created cancer upon your planet. Therefore, the only way to abolish cancer, to abolish disease, to retain, to reclaim, in fact, the true harmony, the true beauty, the true divinity, the true perfection of your true nature is to access none of the lower realms and all of the higher realms. In relation to your question, your path involves one of the medicine woman. We have mentioned this to you before. We have chosen your name, Grandmother Spirit. For a grandmother is one who brings forth that which needs to be received ahead of time. It is the wisdom that needs to be given before the knowledge. For unfortunately, your planet has knowledge and experience, and yet very little wisdom. By all of those spirits and beautiful characters who are gathered here tonight, in unity, you will start to bring healing by merging the higher realms with your earth. Global warming is just a cry for help. Just like the teething child cries and cries and cries. It is not deficient. It is not sick, for goodness sake. It is just in need of the nourishing milk from source. The channeler's mother is way beyond 70. And she still produces breast milk when she thinks of her daughter. How can this happen? How? Science cannot explain. The trance that is happening tonight cannot be explained. It can only be brought through by the merging of the higher realms. There's nowhere to go. It is about the merging. There can be no mistake when you merge into the heart of creation. And you realize that any illness, any dis-ease, any distortion from the path is just a baby, a teething baby, crying for the nourishment, which is beyond material. It is the nourishment which is eternal, the eternal nourisher which constantly gives and never drains. For when there is the giving which is eternally nourishing, the pure fountain of rainbow light purifies all in its vibration and all that are willing to let go of the illusions. For truth is the path, light is the lesson, life is the experience, and love is the eternal essence, which can never be broken, which can never be chained. For true love has wings and can only soar, and can only soar by soaring with every consciousness. The illusions will melt away like ice cubes, and the love will explode like light bulbs into billions of stars and light which can never be broken. The channeler's uncle wishes to communicate. He has not communicated this before. This is of a new information. When he transitioned into spirit, he exploded. He had internal combustion. The rainbow body, call it what you shall. We prefer rainbow body, and yet your scientific explanation is internal combustion. He was lying next to his wife, and he went on fire. Only his fingernails and his hair remained. This is 1 in a billion occurrence, and yet it happens. Where did he go? Why did this happen? He went into 1,000 stars. He had decided he wanted to gift humanity little sparks of light. He did not have strength in his physical body, so he chose to do this and sacrifice. He is still pieces of star dust in the sky. This sacrifice does not have to happen anymore. Just like in the past, animals used to be sacrificed, people, experiences, sacrifices of the past. The future is one of beauty. The future is one of authenticity. The future is one of discernment. The future is one of wholeness. Being in essence with all that is whole and pure. We feel this is sufficient for tonight. And yet we know we will see the majority of you again. For we have never left you. We do not go anywhere. We just step back and allow your experience of earthly experience and missions to bring forth the light. Yet we always wish to remind you we support you, we love you, and we are part of you. You have all been chosen. And you all have gifts. Never forget them. Use them with your free will, and yet use them responsibly. For not all beings have the gifts that you have here. In love and divinity, in eternal life, in eternal light, and in eternal expanding love, we bless you all. We carry with you a rainbow of infinite light and love. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, good love.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's bright. Aye.
Welcome back.
Thank
Last time she was saying, see you in an hour, like.
I remember someone saying it was too bright, and now I'm like, oh, it is bright. Well, at the beginning it was, well, okay. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Powerful.
Bless you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, beautiful. Takes me from
Şeyleri konu sohbetleri sonra alabilme ihtimali var mı?
Ne?
Onu
Olur.
söyleyeyim.
Ay, turn it
Teşekkür ederim.
Hocam.
Gidecek.
Grandmother.